Hello guys, my name is Amit. Today we are going to talk about C++ iterators. So basically, standard template library provides containers, then it provides algorithms to work on containers, and to facilitate proper usage of algorithms, it provides iterators. So there are 5 kind of iterators. C++ 17 introduced a new iterator called continuous iterator. We will cover that in separate video, but today we are going to cover these iterators: input iterator, output iterator, forward, bidirectional, and random access iterator. So what are these and how we can work on them? So what is iterator? Iterator is just an object, or we can say it's similar to a pointer that points to element inside a container and can iterate through elements of the container. So as we have seen in C, we have a pointer. We can make it point to a structure, or we can make it point to array, anything, and then we can iterate through the pointer using increment decrement. Similarly, C++ provides the iterators. So what are the usage? Every iterator is not supported by all containers. Now the most important thing to note here is, as we can see here, there is a scope resolution before iterator. So iterators are actually defined inside the container class. So again, since there are different container classes, for example, if we say forward list container only provides a movement in the forward direction because it's a single linked list. We cannot move back. So iterator defined inside the forward list will not be able to move back onto the linked list. While a vector container, this is a dynamic array, we can move in both directions. So we have random access iterator provided inside the vector class. So that's what iterator is provided inside the container namespace. Then begin and end functions are defined inside the container. Vector container defines its own begin and end function. So begin returns a forward iterator, and end returns end is also a member function which returns pointer or iterator to element 1 past end. So we'll see that also. So what are the mutable iterators? It means mutable means changeable, which suppose both input and output. So basically there are 5 kind of iterators which we are going to discuss here, and this is the 6th one which we will leave for another video. So here we are. So let's go to the input iterator first. So what an input iterator is, it is used to read the values from the container and then increment. It cannot alter the value. So now most important thing here is, input iterator cannot alter the value, while output iterator can alter the value. These are the one-way iterators, that is, we can only move forward, we cannot move backward. Once value is read, it cannot be read again. Allowed operations are dereference, increment, and decrement. So for example, let's see. IOStream class provides an input iterator. So what happens is that when we use scene object, in that case we use the input iterator. So isStream iterator is provided, and again isStream iterator is defined outside the class that we discussed earlier. That iterators are defined inside the class. It's defined outside the class because of nature of scene and cout, but we'll see in the later part of the video that the iterators are defined inside the class. So this is one example. So here what we are doing is, we have created an iterator of isStream class. Then we are just comparing the iterators. If iterators are found equal, then we'll print hello, otherwise we'll print no. So increment, decrement, equality checks are allowed on the input iterators. So this is the first one, input iterator. Then let's move to the output iterator. Output, again IOStream class provides the output iterator as O-string operator. So as we know, the output iterator is used to write values to the container. As I have told earlier, input iterator is used to read, output is used to write. So here what we have done is we have taken object named test, cout of class cout, and this is the space which we will be providing between the elements. So now see here, we are just placing the value on the object and we are incrementing it. So when we will execute it, the output will be 0 to 9, because in the loop we are writing the values on the output iterator. So I'll just make it, this is this, and when we run, so this is correct. So input iterator is used for reading, output iterator is used for writing. Two concepts here. Now let's move to forward iterator. So forward iterator is a combination of input and output. It can both use to read and write. It is allowed for forward movement, not backward movement. That's important again. So increment is allowed, decrement is not allowed, because forward we can only move forward. So for example, forward list container, this is a singly linked list, provides a forward iterator. So as you can see here, this iterator is defined inside the forward list class. So this constructor basically creates a linked list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have placed the iterator to the beginning of the linked list here. And when we print, we increment the iterator, it moves forward. Now again, the range based loops are implemented using the forward iterator, because if we do int I colon a, so it will move forward and it will print. So this will be the output. Let us just check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, one more point, that if I just place the forward iterator at end of the container, that is a.end, and I try to decrement it, so let us see what happens. So it says that there is a no match for operator decrement. So it means the decrement operator is not defined inside the forward iterator class. Let's move to the bidirectional iterator. CD bidirectional, and let's see what the bidirectional iterator is. So set class in C++ standard template library provides an iterator which is bidirectional. Since I have already told that we have a class called set, this is the constructor of the class, then we are calling the iterator which is defined inside the namespace of set class. Now as you can see here, we are iterating forward, then we are iterating backward here. Now the main point to note here is that I have not provided it minus it iterator in the for loop. This is because the a.end, that is end function in any container, returns a value past end. It doesn't return the value at end, but it returns one past end. So that's why we have to decrement the iterator first before printing it. Then only it will print the correct values. So let me just run this as well and see that it works. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So our last iterator is the random access iterator. So this iterator is most powerful iterator because it has all the functionality. That is, if we can do it bidirectional, we can do it forward, we can do it input, we can do it as a, we can work it as an output iterator. Also we can, similar to the pointer, we can jump to any variable and then we can print it. So the default constructor of the vector class provides the random access iterator. So here we have just defined a vector. We are just calling the function that of the vector class to initialize a vector. Inside the vector there is a iterator class defined, which whose object is created as it's in the name space of the vector. So this is forward iteration. We have placed begin, then it's not equal to end, then plus plus. Then this is the backward iteration, as I have told. end points to one element past end, so this is backward iteration. Then this is random forward, that is we have started from begin and we are jumping 2 positions. And then this is we can access any element similar to the pointer. We have pointed to begin, then we have pointed it plus 4, so it will be 0 1 2 3 4 5, so it will just print 5. So this is the most powerful iterator. Vector class provides the random access iterator. Sorry. So let me just print. Okay, so fine. So so one more thing I wanted to show, that how vector templates are internally implemented. So let me just, so here in the first line I have taken an object called B, and in the second line I have taken an object of vector class called A, which is initialized to 1. So if I see here, so if you see here this vector int B, when I am highlighting here, it points to this. So we can, okay, these are the function preamble, allocation of stack, but the main point to note here is this, that this is declared or defined as a vector constructor inside, that is the vector function, same named vector function, but it's not taking any arguments. So if we search it, we will find its definition. So it's defined here, it's a separate function. Now let us move back. Then let me just point it to 1 here, this one, this is initializing the vector. So this initialization of vector is here, this call we say. So what this call looks like, I'll just see. So again we are calling so this is a class std vector. There is a function inside the vector which is named again a vector because this is a constructor, and we are passing an initializer list as a first argument and allocator as a second argument. So whenever we are creating a vector object with 1, it means that internally it's passing argument as initializer list because it will allocate it. The second argument is an allocator. So allocator is a class which is used by containers for allocating the memory. And finally, one more important thing to note, I think I should mention it, because we are allocating the allocator class, so destructor will be called automatically here, and since destructor is getting called, this initializer list will be destroyed. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share in this video. Thanks a lot guys, have a good day, bye.